So in this video, I want to make the Gustav cannon, which is basically a massive gun. Now it basically ran along railway lines and basically just destroyed basically anything it wants to for a very big range. Now I want to create this in survival, so first I went to my survival mod. This is a survival bell, but I made the Mark 1 tank, so I thought it might fit in, but it probably won't. But in the last video we ended up at the chemical plant, so now I got to drive all the way back to our little base. Now this took quite a long time, but there's going to be a few problems with making this cannon. You see, this cannon uses, it's going to use a lot of spud guns. And this is going to be a big problem, since in the last video, we got 2 spud guns in around 8 to 6 hours. I think that's around how long it took. And that is only 2. Now we're going to need around 16 to like 12. I'm going to aim for 12, and hopefully we'll get that amount. This thing's also going to fire explosives, which I didn't really explain, but it's going to use a spud gun based cannon to fire the explosives, hopefully quite far. So yeah, this took a long time to get back, but it should be way easier to get spud guns this time, as we actually have all the seeds that we need, since last time we had to actually do everything. But now it's a lot easier since we already got quite a lot of resources. I also took some more soil since we're really low on soil. Now, apart from the actual spud guns, we're also going to need a lot of other things like engines, seats, and a way to aim it, which I'm probably going to use a controller for, since they're pretty accurate and pretty easy to use. We're also going to need an ammo container, which is pretty easy, and quite a lot of ammo, as the spud guns obviously need to have ammo. Now, getting back to a really long time, which kind of slows down a bit, but not too much. But anyway. So as soon as I got back, I basically, just started placing everything down, and basically just getting ready to start farming. I had a lot of things in my inventory, definitely lots of soil bags, since I just raided a farm for them. But, so yeah, I was just clearing up space for the new soil bags, as our current farm plot isn't big enough, as it only has a space around 60 crops around, and I wanted to have at least like 80, and that's around how much we could fit on this island. So yeah, this didn't take too long, but I really did want to start farming soon, so it was going to be pretty close on time if we could do this or not. So I basically got rid of all the seeds and placed them somewhere else, and started placing soil. Now we're gonna have to manually water this, but luckily we're in the middle of the ocean, so there's quite a lot of water to water it with. The reason the farms in the middle of the ocean is that raids can't really do much to you, as the haybots can't really spill over to you, and the towboats can't do much damage either, because you just kill them pretty easily. So yeah, I raided shack some more wood, as this thing is probably going to build out of wood, because I'm not rich, and I do not have that much metal. And I also have to refine metal by hand currently. So we're also going to need quite a lot of cardboard, and we're also going to need to worry about making explosives, as that's the thing we need to actually, fire at the farm boss. I haven't explained, but we're going to try again to kill a farm bot with this. Now, we'll see how good it is, but realistically, it should only take 2 shots if we can hit them. So for spud guns, for each spud gun, we're going to need 10 blueberries and 20 bananas. And overall, for 14 spud guns, 14 spud guns, we're going to need 420 altogether. Now, we're probably not going to get 14, but if we do, that's around how much we need. So this farmer has around, 80 plots, which means we'll probably make it in around 5 to 7 nights. Now, we also do have a lot of blueberries from last video, as I had way too much blueberries. So we're going to need to, pack them up and send them to the traders. So this is going to be my first load of fruit. So I basically just packed up the blueberries and sent them off. We had 4 packages, which was quite a lot, and would basically mean that we could focus on bananas for quite a while. instead of farming them both, which is slightly simpler, but it doesn't change too much. And of course, the only tank I have is the Mark 1 tank, so we're going to have to use it. Now, this isn't exactly a delivery vehicle, and it's a pretty bad vehicle in itself, but I do quite like it since it's pretty fun to drive around. It drifts a bit too much, but like, who doesn't, well, love a drifting car? Now, it was also pretty good with, well, route as well, since it was pretty heavy, and wouldn't tip over since it had quite a wide base. I also added some, well, wood to the side to make it so it wouldn't flip over even less, and they also, well, doubled as like a place to put the fruit. Now, at the trader, I basically just, well, obviously I took them to the trader and basically just sucked up the fruit. Now, there's going to be quite an obvious routine for me here, where, well, I basically just like farm, pack up the fruit, do a raid, farm, pack up the fruit, and stuff like that. Now, luckily this vehicle is quite good at, well, taking well packaged fruit, since we're going to need to take a lot, around 8 a day, since that's how much farm can produce around. But anyway, so I got back to the farm, and I also collected lots of paint, which is also going to be useful for making explosives, because for some reason they're the ingredient as explosives. But anyway, our farm was almost done, well, almost done growing, and it was looking pretty well. So this whole time I was crafting up wood, since that's what I like to make my vehicles out of, and it's also a relatively good building block as it's quite plentiful, and it's got a good durability and other stuff. So I started collecting, collecting my plants, so I could obviously package them and got ready for the raid. Now the raids are really simple, but they're also a massive, well, source of scrap metal, as I do not do much buildings in this video since I don't really have much time to raid them, so we do not have a lot of component kits. The only component kits we have are around 20 from last video, which should be enough to make this thing. So anyway, I packaged up my crops and, well, took them to the trader. Now, this time I had eight crops, which then the tank did fine, just taking them to the trader. The tank's pretty good, and it actually had quite a lot of effort put into it. It even has a fuel tank, which for me, I never really put fuel tanks on my vehicles since you don't need them, but they're really helpful. This thing obviously also does has spud guns, but you don't really use them that much since they basically have zero ammo in them. They're around 50, but that goes around a second when you start shooting them, and that's why a normal spud gun's better, but I still don't have one of those. So anyway, I did the first building of the video, and most likely the last, since the only reason I did it is because I had some spare time, and I did need to get some more component kits, especially if I ever decide to do something in the future. It also gave me some scrap metal, which I've been finding by hand, which definitely makes it a lot longer. So anyway, I started, well, planting more bananas, and bananas is basically the only thing I farmed for quite a while until I needed blueberries. Now bananas was the bulk of what we needed, and it was quite hard getting them all. I also almost starved through this video because I only had around 10 beets and 10 tomatoes through this whole video to eat, as I didn't really farm much food until the end, which was quite useful. So anyway, I basically killed the hay bots and would refine the metal later, as it was more efficient just to get the packages out of the way first. Now raids were really easy, and they never seemed to be that hard, even though they should technically be getting harder. But since, well, obviously they can't get to us, they're really easy, and it also glitches out the Haybot's AI, which means that they can't actually hit us, or they don't want to hit us. So anyway, this time we had 7 packages, since our farm produces slightly under 80, seems to get around 79, so sometimes we don't have enough bananas. But this wasn't much of a problem, as this thing still doesn't flip over, and it's still a relatively good car. Of course it drifts, but that's mostly because I gave it four-wheel steering, so it could, well, obviously aim while moving really slowly, so it would be more like tank steering, but I realized there was no point. Especially in the last video, if you go watch that, it was not needed at all, but it doesn't matter too much, it just makes it a bit really painful to drive. So anyway, I got a seat, and I upgraded it to level 5. Now this was for an idea where I basically, there's basically a lock bearing feature, which basically means that you can easily make a turret using a level 5 seat. But I realized that uses turning, the turning bearings, if you get what I mean. And I needed to use those for turning the car. So unless I wanted 2 seats, I basically just couldn't really do it. So now you have a level 5 seats and 10 less component kits. Hooray. So anyway, I started finding scrap metal as that's what I needed to do. But I also didn't worry about, explosives too much, which was kind of a bad idea since I also need to get glow poop, which is basically what you get from feeding glow bugs cardboard. So anyway, I didn't really concentrate on ammo until the last day as fuel was getting really short. I basically hadn't found an oil pool yet, so I basically had to just go around the ocean looking for crude oil. Now this took quite a long time, but pretty soon I was planning on getting a oil pool. Sadly, there wasn't any too close, which is a shame since I did look for one last video. But it doesn't matter too much as we still have quite a lot of oil and can go pretty far. We also don't need too much, but anyway, I started building the cannon, although it didn't look very good. I didn't use a reference image for some stupid reason, so this thing looked awful, and I mean, like the one I made in creative actually looked decent. It looked okay for me, especially since I didn't really make it recently. But this just looked god awful. So anyway, I didn't really finish the Gustav cannon until the last day, as that's when I really needed to be finished and well painted. But I carried on taking packages to the trader. So yeah, I only really worked on the cannon when I had time to, since there was quite a packed schedule. As basically the average day was basically just obviously kill a raid, plant crops and take crops to the packing station, pack them up, take them to the trader, find some scrap metal, and that was basically the entire day. Now we basically did that around like 5-6 times over, which did take a long time, but it was kind of worth it. Worth it for the fact that the cannon was actually okay, but not worth it for the fact that the cannon looked awful. So yeah, this thing obviously was pretty bad at driving, and you could probably tell from my driving skills. But it's not just me; it kind of is how bad the tank is. But it still looks really cool and will look 10 times better than the Gustav cannon. So anyway, I found some oil a few days later, as it was going to be pretty helpful to make ammo. I was also getting pretty low on fuel as I couldn't really be bothered to go around the ocean, as it takes a very long time to get crude oil that way. But sadly, I didn't get a full chest of it because I basically had a button instead of a switch to suck it up, which means I had to constantly press the button down, which basically made it a lot more painful to get. But anyway, finally I started working on the cardboard, working on glow poop. So I got a glow bug and was going to make this contraption to automatically feed it cardboard. Now for this I probably could have used a vacuum pump, but I just made this simple thing, which was basically just this thing which you'd load a massive chunk of cardboard into and it would just eat the blocks at the bottom, making it fall down. Now this worked great, to be honest, and it worked, and it basically meant that I didn't have to get a vacuum pump or anything, so it was pretty good. Now, piling up the cardboard sky high was a bit hard. Eventually, I realised I just used a seat and some cardboard blocks to do it, so it wasn't too bad in the end. So anyway, I started working on the Gustav cannon again, and made it slightly shorter. Oh well, less wide. You see, it looked a bit too wide, but I don't think I cut it in the right place, so it looks kind of goofy now. I'm also sorry for my pronunciation of the Gustav cannon, as I'm probably pronouncing it very wrong. So yeah, I still didn't look up a reference image, and to be honest, in this whole video, I never did. So this one's actually pretty good, apart from how bad it looked. Which, yeah, I probably should have looked at a reference image, but like, yeah, I just should have probably. So I basically just carried on while finding cable legs, as I let them pile up a bit too much, and there were a lot left. And I needed a lot of them, and they're gonna continue to pile up as I can't bother to find them. So anyway, I worked on getting bearings and other stuff for the Gustav cannon, as it still a few last minute preparations are needed. I also got the ammo container, well, since I found some beets and tomatoes for it. And yeah, so this thing was going pretty well. I didn't even need to steal anything off my Mark 1 tank, which I was pretty bad of, even though I could very easily have stolen the ammo container. But anyway, the thing's basically done. It needs a paint job, but it drives pretty well. Now, I do know this thing's meant to run on rails, but if you look at a Sky Mechanic world, there's no rails. So we're not getting any rails pretty much. I got some more wood, to turn into cardboard to use it as well, because you need that to actually use the cannon. And we didn't need too much, as one wood's 4 blocks of cardboard, which is actually scrap wood is 4 blocks of cardboard, which is a really good deal. Now I made a mistake that I didn't know that we needed 1 block of cardboard for every spud we had. So we only had around 200 spuds, since that's how much I farmed, and we probably don't need that much. So we only need 200 cardboard, but I got way more wood than I needed. I painted this thing up, and this thing looks bad, but it looks slightly better if you don't compare it to what it was meant to be, and just as its own thing. But yeah, I will say this is probably one of the worst things I've made. It's definitely worse than the Mark 1 tank, because I'm kind of proud of how that looked. But anyway. So I set off to find a farm bot to kill. Now we only had around 6 shots, as that's how much explosives we had to shoot, which was not a lot. Now, hopefully we'd be able to hit most of them, but this wasn't actually that easy. The problem is farm bots will move around a lot, and also they're relatively hard to find. I also regret not putting a fuel thing on this, because the engine needs to be refueled a lot, so it was a bit of a pain. But eventually I found the farm bot, or one of them. It was also, it was on a hill, and it was in a pretty bad place. It basically, yeah. I also overestimated how far it can fire, as this thing is really bad. It's not awfully bad, but then again, it's not that good. But anyway, I did make a sight though, which made it slightly easier to aim. But yeah. So eventually it became night, and this is when I wanted to fire it. For no reason really, but it just took quite a long time to actually, aim and stuff. Now this took a really long time, we kept moving around, and I tried to fire and I realised that we were really far off. Extremely far off. If we aimed up more, it probably would have hit. But I completely underestimated, the actual distance. So now we're going to go somewhere else. I'm just going to go to the chemical plant, like in the last video, which is a bit boring, but also the farm bot, has less elevation that it can move around on, and also it's just generally not easier. And luckily, it was actually trapped, or kind of stuck and like a chemical pool on the wall, kind of. A bit of an odd position, but anyway, I'm not well complaining. Now it means that this farmer isn't going to run after us or anything, but or like do anything, and it basically can't do much. But it doesn't, well, really matter. It kind of makes this a lot more underwhelming. But anyway, we've got a thing to do. So anyway, I basically loaded an arrow into the cannon, and I aimed the controller. Well, obviously checking the sights. As you can see, we hit it head on pretty much, and it definitely did a lot of damage. Now I believe it's 2 explosives to got a farm bot, so now we're just gonna go for the second shot. So now I aimed again as the recoil had shifted slightly, and we just need to go 1 more degree to the left or right. So I aimed, and then yeah, we missed, kind of. It was a bit odd, but yeah, it exploded somewhere else as it didn't kill the farm bot. But as see, we got the next shot, which killed the farm bot. Now, what was this for? Nothing really. I don't really know why I made it. But I'm glad I did. And now we've got another warehouse key, which is kind of useless, and I don't even have a slug bin yet. But anyway, I also got some component kits, which are like the only components kits we've got in this whole video. But now we can loot, the chemical plant in peace. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I definitely could have made it look better, but it doesn't matter too much. It did work after all, and that's basically all that matters. Although, yeah, I'll probably get rid of it. It's not something that I want to keep around, really. It's really, really ugly. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.